Hi, hello, it's Pip here from QueenPipCards.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make this card. This was inspired by a US demonstrator, both Ginny Harrell, who did a different card to this but similar in terms of a trifold, and also a lady called Gina something who I can't remember what her surname was, but she did this in powder pink the other way around and I really liked it. So I decided to make this card as well for me and myself, and I thought I'd show you how to make it too. So this is how it looks when somebody takes it out of the envelope, and then when they open it up, they open the first flap up like this to reveal the chairs sitting there, and then when they open it up again, they open it up like that to reveal life is better with you in it, which I think is a lovely saying, and obviously the little window there. So I'm just going to show you the basic construction of the card, because actually the stamping and the colouring in is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We're going to be using the Charming Cafe stamp set, which sadly is retiring with the 2017-2018 catalogue. It's a one-piece stamp set, but it comes with a matching set of dies, which are called the Cafe Builder Framelit dies. And they look like this, so you have lots of pieces, and I'll show you what all of these do as we go through the course of the card. So it comes as a bundle, but as I say, it is retiring, and it is such a shame because it's a lovely stamp set and I haven't used it nearly enough. I think I'm going to keep this one. I very rarely keep stamp sets because obviously I do it as a business and I can't afford to keep everything. I have to do sell off retired stock occasionally. But I really like this because it's got two coffee or possibly teacups. I want to call them teacups here. And so this is, for me and my hubby sitting having a cup of tea outside a little cafe somewhere. It's very typical of what we would do when we go on holiday together. So I would like to keep that. I'll keep this stamp set for my hubby's cards. Okay, so here it is again. I'm going to show you first of all how we get this flip going on. So I've got some soft sky cardstock here, which I thought I'd use instead of the pink, just so that I can show you. Get my trusty trimmer, and I know that's going to have light on it, so let me put it here where you can see the numbers but not get the lighting, sort of. There we go. So you have a piece that's this big. It's an A4 piece of cardstock, and you're going to use the whole A4 piece of cardstock. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to score it, not cut it, score it all the way down the length of the card, and then we're going to score it all the way across the centre of the card, and that cuts our cardstock into 4, and then we're just going to chop out 1/4. Okay, so we're going to start with scoring. I'm going to pop it in at 10.5 centimetres. This is European sizing. So score all the way up and down, and then turn it around, and 14.9, 14.8, 14.9, score all the way down, and that gives you your 4/4. You can see that. Now what we're going to do is we're now going to remove a quarter, and you need to work out which quarter you want to remove, because we're going to leave a little bit, we're going to take a little bit extra off. So we're going to take a little bit extra off of one of these so that it folds nicely inside. So you can see I've taken off this top quarter here. Okay, so that's if you want it to fold in this way. But if you wanted to do it so that it folded in kind of that way, you could do this side. So why don't I do that? So we'll take out this quarter so it will fold in this way. I'll make it slightly different. So now I'm going to go with my trusty trimmer again. Okay, I'm going to move it over just a smidge so that you can see. And you're going to line this score line up to the centre. It should be at 14.9. because that's where we cut it, measured it from, and it is. So you're going to do that, lock it in place, and then you're going to come down here and you see this measurement here. 10.5 on the actual trimmer shield here that covers your cutting shield. You're going to take that down to 10.5, and I'm actually going to take it down just beyond the 10.5 because I want to trim this slightly smaller so that when you fold it over you don't get a sharp edge, like too much of bulk in a corner. So we're going to take that out. So you've literally just cut it like this. Then you're going to go back in, put this on the score line. Again, it should be 10.5, but we remember we want to cut on the inside of that score line, so I'm just going to bring it on the inside of 10.5 centimeters here, lock it in place, and this time I'm taking it down to 14.9, and I can feel when it hits that other cut line. And there you have your 3 parts to your card. Okay, so this piece you can use again for something else. Don't need the trimmer anymore. Now what we're going to do is just fold it up, fold it out. Oops. Just going to bring that up a bit. There we go. So you're going to take this piece and fold it inwards. Okay, and then we're going to burnish that. And we're going to take this piece and fold it over. Burnish this, burnish your edges. There we go. And now we should have a trifold that folds this way. Okay, and again you can keep burnishing, make sure that it goes down nicely. If you need to trim a little bit more off, if you think you haven't cut enough away here, then you can go back in and you can just take another strip off if you want to. But that's how you get the basic shape. Now I'm going to show you what you do next. Okay, so the next thing you do is you're going to stamp with this stamp on the front of your card. Okay, and you're going to stamp that in, well, I stamped it in Old Olive just so that I could see it clearly, and you're going to stamp that centrally. But seeing as we're now doing this in Soft Sky, I might take a different colour. Ooh, might even use one of our new Call Me Clover stamp ink pads. So I'm going to try Call Me Clover. We're going to ink it up just gently. You really don't need loads of pressure. People have the tendency to squish, but they're so inky, and just that's how the ink transfers well. You don't need to squish it down. Now if this is bouncing up and down like this, you won't get a nice good impression. So what I did was I opened up my card so that I could see the hole, and if that doesn't help either, you can open it right up so that you can get a good image, a good surface rather, and then you're just going to go straight down and straight up from the centre. Okay, make sure you get good even pressure all the way around, and then that's your central image now stamped. Obviously you can't have it like that, much as it would be nice to leave it just like that. You can't have it like that because you need to cut the centre out of it so that you can see behind. So in your framelits there are these 2 pieces, okay, and these 2 pieces mirror this shape. Now you don't want to cut the outside out because then you'd lose the whole image. So what you're going to do is you're just going to cut the inside out. So you're going to position it here, and then you'd cut the inside of that out. So what I would do is I would put some washi on once I'd got it to where I wanted it to be, or you could use the magnetic platform. See, I'm looking at it now facing upwards, and it needs to come up just a smidge. There we go. It is quite tight, the cutting edge on this. It does go quite close to the lines, but don't panic about that. The only thing I will say is be careful when you put it through your Big Shot. I'm not actually going to run it through my Big Shot because I don't want to wobble the table here. So you've got your base plate, you've got your cutting plate. If I had this right around. So you've got your Big Shot platform, your thin die adapter, and you've got your cutting plate. When you run this through the Big Shot machine, you need to run it through this way. I had to think for a minute then. I'm thinking, how does that fit? So you need to have nothing under here. So you wrap this piece of cardstock under here where it's not going to get cut by anything, and then you pop your other plate over the top, and you would run that through like that to then just cut out this centerpiece. Okay, then let's assume you've done that. When you come to this piece, you then want to cut out this element, and again in the dies you have this funny looking piece, and what this does is this cuts out the table and chairs, so it leaves you with this negative image. Okay, so it leaves you just with the pink. So again, when you're running this through the Big Shot, fold this half over, and then you would run it through like that. So that's there, and you put your plate over the top. Oops. Make sure you didn't move it when you put your plate over the top, and then you would run it through like that, and then that way you're always keeping your card safe. You're only cutting one layer at a time as you run through, and then that's pretty much it. That's the hard die cutting work really done. You then use the dies in here. You would then stamp out the table and chairs. So you have a stamp that does the table and chairs, and you would just stamp those out. I stamped mine in Memento, and then you cut them out, and they fit then perfectly on top of this piece you've cut out. The only thing I would say is when you're putting it together, like when you're first going to cut this piece, position it underneath the window so you can see where they're going to be. So make sure that you're not too close to the top, too close to the bottom, but make sure that you're not kind of down here, because then you'll see this line here. So you need to be positioning this so that you just see the chairs, but you don't see the top of that square. Okay, and then what I did was, once I'd cut that out and stuck that piece on, then I had to work out where to put my window. And that was really easy. I took a pencil and I made 2 pencil marks, top, this corner and this corner, left and right, so that then when I stamped my window, I stamped it between the 2 pencil marks. And then that was it. So, as I say, I'm not going to do all of the cutting or colouring in. This piece here uses the floral, the Fresh Florals Designer Series paper stack with powder pink. Okay, so now let's do this oval piece that's going to go on the front of here. So when you're stamping your oval to go across the top, we're going to go back in with the Call Me Clover, which is a lovely colour. I can't wait for this to be available for you guys. Yeah, I think you're going to love it. And then make sure you're leaving yourself enough room to cut round it. So you need to have a gap here. And then you're going to cut the centre piece out first, like that. And then you're going to go back in and cut this piece out. I would not recommend doing them at the same time. I mean, you can, but if one of those catches or slips during it running through your Big Shot, you do run the risk of these interlocking or moving. And sometimes I've seen people actually buckle their framelits because one got caught under another. In fact, I've done it myself, where one part of the framelit actually got caught on a scratch on my pad, on my cutting mat. So I would cut this piece out first and then go back in and cut your outside piece. And then on this, all I did was I used Wink of Stella with a coordinating colour. So here I would pick up maybe a blue, like a Island Indigo, Dapper Denim, maybe even one of the new Bushel Blues, and pick up the blue that's in the cardstock. So it's not quite the same, it's slightly different, but it's similar. And pick that colour up and just colour in these. So you pick the colour up in the in here. I'll show you how you do that. Even with the new ones you can do that. Flip them over. You just have to squidge them when they're closed. And then pull that, she says, doing it. You can do it. I know you can because I've done it before. There we go. Oh, there we go. And then rather than closing the lid, sliding it forward, you just pick the ink up from in here with your Wink of Stella. So I'll show you how you do that, just in case you haven't seen me do this before. So you would imagine that this has all been cut out Blue Peter style, although I haven't got one that I've done earlier. So you just, and this is green, but so I'm going to go and do the leaves for a change on this one. So you just fill in the leaves with your Wink of Stella brush, just picking out the colour that you've pulled in from your ink pad. But don't ever be tempted to go directly to the ink pad. And you can see you don't need very much, but it just gives a tiny, I don't know if you can see this, but it gives just the tiniest of shimmer. It's lovely. I love my Wink of Stella. Use it all the time. And then this is a little bit like colouring in, so it's very relaxing. But does take a while if you're trying to get something done on camera. So, well, and I've missed a couple, so I better go back in and finish those, otherwise it'll look wonky and then I'll be upset with myself. There we go. And then to clean it, you just clean it off on your paper. All right. So yeah, so you do the same again with the colour, and then you can cut that out and see that just gives you a nice little shine on the leaves there, and you could have the same on the flowers. So that's all I did there. I actually put multi-purpose adhesive glue sheets underneath that we have on my online store. I can put the link up for that. They're sheets that you just stick across the back, and they turn into double-sided sticky tape basically, which is great because you can get them to actually cut out where you've cut. So I did put a backing on here, and all I did there was I just put this piece of DSP underneath the card and drew round here a little bit inside the lines to get it to match up with the framelit. And that's what I put on the back, and then the rest of it's just decoration, just a little bit of paint, a bit of colouring of the windows. I did that in Soft Sky because it just makes it look like glass. Just a little bit on the, I don't know what they're called. They're not French. They're not. Well, they're not shutters, but they're the other thing. Blinds. They're not blinds even. I don't know. I can't remember the word. I can't remember the word for it. It'll come to me as soon as I'm not on camera. But yes, on these drapey bits here, I just put some colour there. Added the Life is Better with You in it, and there you go. That's my trifold card. So oh, and this I cut out with the scallop from the seasonal layers framelit dies. This scallop edge, it's a nice one in there. But you could just put a normal strip down if you wanted to. So there you go. So I hope that gives you a bit of inspiration for the Charming Cafe, and that you enjoy making your Charming Cafe trifold cards. I love the fact that they have these specialist dies in Stampin' Up. You can't get them anywhere else. They are unique to them, and they coordinate with all their stamps beautifully. And I just love the fact that you can get these just different looks to your cards. So you've got that sense of of depth when you give a card to somebody. I think it's fantastic. So yeah, so that's the Charming Cafe set. As I say, over on my Facebook page I'm showing different ideas, but I thought I would show them all for you here on YouTube as well. So just so that you get an idea of what you can do with all the different things, because there are other dies. So I've shown you the table, I've shown you the cutout table, I've shown you the swag, or it's not really, it's kind of a frame. I've shown you the frame and the inside of the frame, and then we've still got to show you these two, which are swags. Now these are the swags. These swags match these swags up here. Isn't that great? So you don't have to actually cut out the whole image and then fussy cut out the middle or try and get it to match up. You've just got two swags like that. So I used them on this card, and here I've just done pretty much exactly the same as that. See, just stamped it again and just cut out the two swags, and then I just stamped it on the envelope as it is, without the line bit in, without this line piece. So I just stamped that piece. So you've got a nice note card, thanks note card. That's the thanks from the stamp set. And then I've just taken one of our note card envelopes and just added this gorgeous Painted with Love. I love Painted with Love. I'm going to miss this paper when it's gone. Yeah, so that's that idea. Then this is a very simple aperture, which again just uses exactly the same, but this time I haven't mounted another one on top. I've just left it as it was. And then inside, the chairs stamped straight onto the card, with a bit of Pool Party here and Timeless Textures to just give it some ground. You want to settle the ground there. And this wording is from Perennial Birthdays. That's what that's from. So yeah, that's that one. And then this one in blue. So here I used Island Indigo, I think, for the colour of the flowers. But again, almost identical. But look how different those three look. You know, you're using the same swag, but with different colours, and some coloured in and some coloured in, some not coloured in. It gives you a whole different different look on things, and different words through the centre makes it look different. And here I've just put, I'm lucky to have a friend like you, and then I've cut out these gorgeous little cut trees. Now they've got a special name to them as well. I can't remember what that is either, but they where you cut them all to look like pom-poms or dogs or ducks or whatever. So they've obviously been cut with these two. They remind me of poodles a little bit, poodle tails. So these two poodle tail vases. The good news is that in the stamp set, obviously you get one stamp of your tree, but in the framelit set you get 3 dies, she says, if she can get them off. So you can stamp and cut 3 of these out at the same time. But isn't that great? Because isn't speed something that we're always after? We're always after doing things, you know, and running one of those through individually would be a bit of a pain. So they give you 3, which is fab. So I cut both of those out straight off in one go. So that's cool. And then what else have we got? And then finally, I've just done one with this. So I've used the, rather than the swag and frame, I've just used the chairs. So here I have stamped the chairs, then I've cut it out with that, and then I've just cut out a couple of these poodle trees, and again done my window and a couple more poodle trees inside. And you have to work out where they are going to sit based on here, but again it's pretty easy. Once you've got your window in, you just need to go on either side of them, and then they just fit nicely in between the two, like on either side of the 2 chairs. And then this is the crinkled seam, which I love, seam binding, crinkled seam binding in the Berry Burst, my favourite. So yeah, so there you go. There's I mean, really there is so much you can do with this set. I think it's fabulous. You can purchase it from my shop if you'd like. All the links are below. And I hope that it will bring you as much joy and happiness as it has to me, because I really enjoyed making these. They're very, very, very fun. Okay, so have a lovely day and happy shopping. Take care now. See you again soon. Bye-bye.